done speaking. We've been cleared for takeoff, and we'll be departing shortly.
Go ahead and give that man a round of applause.
That boy's got talent.
Welcome back, everybody. Shaney, Craft and Trade Entertainment, and I am sorry for the delay in a video, but due to the holidays, and then we had that winter storm come through, and I'm in Illinois, and it knocked school out for like an extra week. So I had all the kids stuck here with me, so it was definitely a hectic time, but I'm back in it, and we're going to go over gain staging today, really quickly. So as you can see, I have my DAW Pro Tools pulled up, and I have a channel here. Let's get that right here, verse 1. And then I have a window down in the bottom right where you can see I have my mic pre and my compressor. And we're going to go over this really quickly. I don't use the parametric equalizer on this, but what we're going to do is go over how to gain stage, in this case, vocals, but this can be used across the board for drums, guitar, anything. And if you have a full band playing while you're recording, like in a studio setting, gain staging will help you because it will allow you to get your levels right and sounding good prior to tracking, so that you automatically kind of have a nice balance between everything. So when you go into the mixing process, you've kind of taken a little bit of the work out that you might have to go ahead and do inside of the box. Whereas if you gain stage correctly, it will take some of that out of your in the box processing. So the reason that I have the window in the bottom and I have the DAW pulled up is to show you how to gain stage from the mic pre, but also how it coincides in your DAW with your channel. So with that being said, let's dive into the mic pre. Now you see a lot of knobs, and you know, what the hell does all of it mean? And really in this particular case, we don't have to worry. I don't even use the equalizer, and I do use the compressor, but that's going to muddy kind of what I'm talking about here. So we're just going to focus on the gain, the input gain, and the output gain. And I don't know if you can see Snoopy Loop there, but there he is. He said, "What's up?" Okay, so what I'm trying to do is get a nice, clean, present signal that comes through on the DAW channel, kind of in a nice place. As you can see now, let's see, I'm at, just as at talking like I am now, I'm at negative 14 decibels. Certainly that's not the same decibel level that I would be using if I was recording, but just to show you. And you can visually see where it's at here on the fader as well, where this green stripe is going vertically up and down. So the input gain, as far as how I explain it, is how much you're wanting to record through the microphone or through whatever it is that you're recording through. And so what I want to do is use that input gain to just get where I have a nice clean vocal, but I'm not pulling in any more than that. Like I don't want, well, as you increase that input gain knob, what you'll find is that certainly you do get increased decibel level out of the vocal that you're sending through the mic, but you also start to pick up a lot of the room noise as well. Because to me, it's almost like as you increase the input gain knob, you bring more of the room into the recording. And I'm in a home recording scenario or studio setting, so I don't want that, because my room is not, even though it's soundproofed to a degree, the room was never designed to record in. So there's problems that I will never ever be able to alleviate out of the equation. So I try to minimize them. And by doing that, the way that I do that with gain staging in my particular spot is that I try to just get enough out of the input gain knob as to where I know that I'm getting a clean signal. Now over here, and that, a lot of that has to do, I mean, if you have a microphone that has pads on it, like a negative 20 pad, I probably would try to not use that and just go either 0 and then use the input knob, or if you had a decibel boost of like 10 decibels, you could use that, and then that would allow you to not have to rely so much on the input gain on your preamp. I use the output gain to take that clean level here that I've used by setting the input gain and amplifying that with the output. And so the reason I would do that is because that's just going to amplify the clean signal that I got from using the input gain. Whereas if I, boosted the input gain, of course I would have the vocal a lot louder right off the bat, and I could bring the output gain down, but I would only be amplifying a signal that had a lot of the room noise and whatever else in it, and I don't want that. I want to make the most out of a clean signal. And so that's why I use the input gain, just as much as I have to get the signal that I'm recording in there in a robust decibel level where it comes through on the DAW channel at a nice spot. And I mean, I've heard different schools of thought on what that means. Is that negative 10 decibels? Is that negative 5? I think that you could probably get away with anywhere from probably negative 10 to negative 5 and maybe even dance around those thresholds a little bit. But once you get down into when you're down here, you're probably starting to run into some problems. See, if I was going to check, 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 so that you saw down here on the readout, it came to 9.9. As long as I have a clean signal with no room noise, I'm not so concerned if I'm not at negative 5 or negative 6 here, because I know that when I start to add compressors and whatever effects plugins that I use up here on the channel, that those will only be further amplifying a signal that's already clean. So if I have to boost it by using the gain on a compressor plugin, it's not going to be amplifying a signal once again that's got too much room noise in it, because I made certain of that when I was gain staging. And like I said, you can use that for kick drums. If you're miking a drum kit, your kick, your snare, your overheads, your hi-hats, all that, you use the same technique as far as gain staging across the board. And hopefully, if you spend enough time doing that, you would, when your band played all those instruments simultaneously like you were recording in the studio setting, the balance would be pretty close. You would have, you would set your kick and your snare to be predominant in your drums, and then you would play with the hi-hats and everything else to kind of play ball with that, and guitars and vocals and so on and so forth. The same standard technique kind of applies across the board. And to me, that is kind of what gain staging really is to get a nice clean signal at a nice robust decibel level without too much room noise, because you're going to have a lot of problems when you get to mixing if you bring in too much of that noise from the room, because if you've got that noise on your kick channel, your snare, your vocal, everything, that's all going to stack up, and it's just going to make the mix nasty. And you can try to use plugins and everything to clean it up, and it may make it better, but that's all it's going to do is make it better. Whereas if you had taken the time during the gain staging stage of everything, that would be a problem that you wouldn't have to combat inside of the DAW. And you don't have to fight it, and two, even if you spent 2 hours fighting it with plugins, you still wouldn't get as good of a result as you would get if you spent your time on gain staging and got everything right before you tracked and recorded it in. So that's as quick as I could probably get it. I hope that it helped you a little bit, and you can apply that in your home recording studio setting. And I'll get out your ear. Thanks for spending a little bit of time. Peace. Chicken grease.